Have you ever seen a character and you just know that the tough girl attitude is just an act? You just know that they're really kind and gentle underneath. You just know that you're really gonna like them? That's exactly what I thought when I saw Abyssmare's second vocalist, Weronika. Hello and welcome to another D4DJ character analysis. Today we are talking about Weronika of Abyssmare, the token brute with a heart of gold. When Abyssmare was introduced into D4DJ, they initially served to provide narrative conflict as villain characters to the main D4DJ cast, as the past major story arcs were pretty light in that regard, since everybody was friends in the D4DJ mythos. Abyssmare provides the villainous dynamic to D4DJ by portraying the typical band of baddies in anime, with Neo being the cold and calculated leader, Elsie being the cute but sadistic girl boss, Sophia being the weird crazy one, and Weronika being the big tough straightforward one. When I encounter this anime trope, I tend to like the big tough straightforward one, which means that when I laid eyes on Abyssmare, I knew I was going to like Weronika. True to the trope, Weronika presents herself as tough, violent, even vulgar with her words and mannerisms. When first introduced in Nova Part 1 Chapter 1, we are immediately given the impression that Weronika is loud and crude with her words. It is her big mouth that forces Neo's hand to reveal their challenge to the Japanese DJ units. This creates the image that Weronika is aggressive, or to be more extreme, brutish, which teammate Elsie makes fun of her about time and time again. Throughout the narrative, Weronika's behavior is on display when her and Elsie constantly argue in public. Her aggression and vulgar language constantly keep the audience on edge, which primes them for her charming side. Underneath that rugged exterior, Weronika is in fact kind, compassionate, and sociable. The fact of the matter is that Weronika is actually a really nice kid, and when we get character development moments for Abyssmare, we see that she is a very admirable and relatable character. For instance, while they are still the villains of D4DJ, in Nova Part 4, Finding Neo, we get to see the Abyssmare members have some downtime in New York, where they are stationed. We learn that Weronika enters a singing contest in order to win a game console as the prize. While Elsie chastises Weronika for entering a public competition, which professional singers are not supposed to do, there are actual things in professional singers' contracts that state they cannot do this. But we learn that Weronika won the game console for her siblings, Mick, Jonathan, and Marie. Elsie and Sophia, along with the audience, are shown a kind and gentler side of Weronika, which is not that surprising, since we need to invert the band of baddies in a cute anime girl narrative that Abyssmare will be joining the main cast of at some point. A major part of Weronika's character is that she is very family-oriented, and she cares deeply for her family. We learn that when after her father left the house, she took great care to provide for her mother and siblings by competing in underground singing gambling rings. That is super sketch, but also quite wholesome considering that we learn that Weronika is basically from the Bronx. Although it is implied early in the story, Weronika directly tells Elsie, and by extension the audience, that she sends a fair amount of her Abyssmare earnings to her mother's medical bills and making sure her siblings are taken care of while she is stranded in Japan. In the conclusion of the Nova story, Neo severed ties with their producer, Mitsuhashi Sho. However, due to contractual technicalities, Abyssmare would be obligated to work for him if they returned to America. This means that Abyssmare is forced to remain in Japan, which allows for interactions between them and the rest of the D4DJ units, as well as spend more time with each other, leading to character development. Abyssmare being forced to interact with the rest of the D4DJ cast, along with being newer characters also grants me the opportunity that I would not be able to do with most other characters, and that is discussing how Weronika parallels other D4DJ characters. When Abyssmare was introduced, their characters were meant to be dark or edgy versions of other characters. While there are some parallels between the members of Abyssmare and members from every other unit, I will focus on 3 of them. The first comparison I want to make is the parallel between Weronika and Maho of Happy Around. With Happy Around being the first contact with D4DJ for most people through First Mix, it would make sense for a villain group to contrast them. Rinku is a bubbly and carefree vocalist, whereas Neo is the cold and calculating vocalist. Mooney and Sophia are obsessed with their unit's leaders, but Mooney is associated with bright colors and kawaii culture, whereas Sophia is associated with dark colors and fringe culture. Ray and Elsie are the super rich girls of their units, but Ray is innocent and respectful, while Elsie is jaded and condescending. Then you have Maho and Weronika, who are oldest sisters that take care of their younger siblings, and they are both athletic and into basketball. However, Maho is the sort of girl that wears her emotions on her sleeves, thus people gravitate to her. Weronika is closed off and defensive, which makes her appear intimidating. What makes this parallel interesting is how once you peel past Weronika's tough exterior, you find that the difference is actually superficial. In reality, they closely resemble each other in how they look out for their friends and cater to the needs of others, which likely stems from the fact that they are elder sisters. Crosby Episode 3 displays this parallel with how Weronika, despite being angry about being the class's fashion show model for Yoba's Culture Festival, goes along with it anyway to appease her classmates. In the same way, Maho reluctantly wears a cheerleader outfit to be the poster girl for her class's cafe. While Maho is a good sport about helping her classmates, she can't help but be embarrassed when other D4DJ characters comment on how revealing her outfit is. Damn it! I was doing so well, and then I got caught. Another character that Weronika is parallel to is Haruna of Lyrical Lily. In the Water, Oil, and Harmony member card story, Haruna and Weronika are basically arguing over tea ceremony etiquette, which one would think is weird because Weronika is not the type to participate in such an event. Like seriously, hanging out with Ray would be a foreign concept to her. This parallel is an interesting one, as it gives D4DJ the opportunity to play on the idea of bad girls or delinquents interacting while keeping it endearing and adorable in a cute anime girl world setting. Weronika's vulgar girl from the hood image allows for Nova's side Lyrical Lily and their character growth to stick with Haruna and having someone to channel her inner bad girl towards. Two women that are actually really kind and considerate in how they care for others can have comedic delinquent dialogue with each other. Now, we just need the story where the two of them actually team up and become delinquents together. The last Weronika parallel I want to bring up is Cocoa from Unicorn. There is a whole Abyssmare and Unicorn being the dark and light reflections of each other discourse. Don't worry, your time will come. But for now, I want to focus on just Weronika and Cocoa. Both of them are similar in that they put up a tough front, but in reality, they are both very immature in their ability to handle their sensitive emotions and doki doki moments. This is evident in their inability to think straight and become weak in the knees when dealing with their lady friends. While Cocoa and Hayate act like a young lovey-dovey couple, I mean, they are 15. Weronika and Elsie bicker and argue like an old married couple. However, what makes Weronika and Cocoa's parallel charming and cute is watching them attempt to hide that they appreciate and admire their lady friends, but they do a really bad job at it. That is what it comes down to, isn't it? Weronika is a girl who didn't have friends due to being stuck in survival mode back in America. It then makes sense that Weronika is terrible when it comes to expressing her thoughts and feelings. However, I want to highlight two more moments that allow us to see the real Weronika underneath the rugged hood from the hood. The first moment I want to highlight is in the Ibuki and Noah relation story, Believe in Our Future. Ibuki and Saki are doing research and seeing what the sports club at Yoba Academy are like. It's all because, as the senior members of the school student council, they have to assess club funding and how it's distributed. They encounter Weronika helping out the basketball club. Yeah, it is a bit of a shock to Ibuki and Saki that Weronika is being nice to people due to her normally brutish and profane behavior that they associate with her stage presence. However, we see that Weronika is the type of person who is willing to help those who are in need of help. She enlightens Ibuki and Saki about how difficult the sports clubs have it in regards to their lack of funding, but gives praise to the efforts and dedications to the sports clubs. What stands out to me about this scene is that Weronika has a deep understanding of people, and she is deeply empathetic to the misfortunes of others. Considering that the D4DJ characters that are high schoolers are all upper-class rich girls, Mooney is the oddball in the cast, but whatever. Weronika allows the audience access to a perspective of Yoba Academy outside of the elite art students. The second moment I want to highlight is in the Stray With You relation story with Weronika and Elsie. The story immediately begins with the Abyssmare members arguing about keeping a stray dog in their apartment. Even though pets are not allowed in their apartment, Weronika doubles down on caring for the dog, enlisting Elsie's help, keeping him hidden in her room. The next day, Weronika and Elsie take Ohagi, that's what Weronika names the dog, for a walk. Elsie struggles to get along with Ohagi, but Weronika helps her be more relaxed with him and teaches Elsie how to be gentle with animals. They then go to a park where they bump into Toa of Photon Maiden along with Kyoko and Shinobu of Piki Piki, who are all out with their dogs. We see that Weronika is very sociable and friendly with others outside of Abyssmare. What makes this quality of Weronika noteworthy is that in the context of this story, Weronika draws out Elsie's opportunity to grow as a character. When Ohagi becomes sick, they have to take him to a veterinarian. She slips out that she's always hated hospitals ever since her mother had collapsed and had to be hospitalized. Elsie then takes interest in Weronika's past and asks for her life story. Weronika discloses to Elsie things that the audience already learned in Nova Chapter 7, like how she was abandoned by her father, had raised her siblings on her own, and joined underground singing competitions to make ends meet. Elsie taking interest in Weronika's past shows that she is developing her empathetic capabilities. Although Stray With You is really more about Elsie becoming more humane and able to be emotionally vulnerable underneath her mean rich girl archetype, the story shows that Weronika's compassion for the weak, love of family, and friendly sociability has begun rubbing off on Elsie.
聞かせてほしいのです。ベロニカに昔何があったか。は？辛いこととか悩みは 一人で抱えるより誰かに共有した方が楽になるのです。あのネオ様だってそうして立ち直ったのですから。
聞いても引くんじゃねえぞ。おととい会った私の親父覚えてるか？あいつは昔日本でそこそこ売れたバンドマンだったんだ。
そういえばベロニカとネオ様が初めて対決した時の調査資料に書いてありましたね。確か2年ぐらいですぐ解散したんでしたっけ？
ああ。で身入りがなくなってアメリカに逃げ帰って、知り合いだった母さんのところに転がり込んだ後、2人は結婚したんだ。けどあいつは母さんにばかり働かせて、自分は遊びほうけて借金ばかりしていた。そんで生活もままならなくなって、スラム暮らしまで身をやつしたところで私が生まれたんだ。普通子供ができたらちゃんとするって思うだろ。けどあいつはそれでも働かなかった。だから母さんが私を食わすためにもっと働いた。飯もろくに食わずにな。そんな状態なのにさらに弟と妹ができて、女手一つで4人を養ってたんだ。
そんなになってもお父様はまだ遊びほうけていたのですか？
あのクズはもっと最悪のことをしたよ。母さんが体を壊して働けなくなったからって私らを捨てて行方をくらましたんだ。
は？そんな、
ほんとありえねえだろ。さすがの母さんもショックを受けて、そこからすぐ入院になっちまった。だから母さんや弟たちが生きるためには私が稼ぐしかなかった。
それでミュージックバーリトゥードを始めた？
親父の気まぐれで歌は教えられてたからな。歌なら道具もいらないし頭もいらない。皮肉だが私にとっちゃ最高の稼ぎ方だった。
そうだったのですね。
やってみたらマジで私に向いててさ。腐ってもミュージシャンの娘だしな。あっという間に地元でトップに上り詰めて、借金を返して母さんも休ませてやれた。でそんな風に食うに困らなくなった頃にお前らがやってきたんだ。
じゃああの時の勝負は？
文字通り生活がかかってたな。
それは悪いことをしたのです。
同情なんかすんじゃねえ。あの時は私よりネオが上だった。それだけだ。それにあの出会いがもっと上を目指すきっかけになったしな。
ベロニカ。
Stray with You ends with Elsie and Weronika returning the dog to his rightful owner. Then, they encounter Weronika's father. At first, he tries reconciling with her, but Weronika sees past the act, exposing that he is only after her money now that she makes a lot with her time with Abyssmare. Despite how much Elsie and Weronika argue, Weronika is quick to protect Elsie from her father assaulting her. Yeah, that happened. Showing how much Weronika really does care for Elsie. Seeing Weronika's strength in facing her father and how awful he is, Elsie knows that one day she will have to settle matters with her own father. In the meantime, I want to draw attention to the notion that Weronika's compassionate nature is infectious, and as it is through spending time with Weronika that the other Abyssmare members begin to develop their sense of compassion. Roy T. Bennett wrote, "Good things happen in your life when you surround yourself with positive people." As newer characters in the D4DJ franchise, Abyssmare has a lot of catching up to do in the character development department. Your mom probably told you that you don't get a second chance at a first impression, and with the whole starting out as villains and being casted as the Band of Baddies anime trope, they had a rough initial outing. However, hope is not lost for Abyssmare, as they have a straightforwardly good member of their unit to inspire them to be better people and become part of the D4DJ community. Weronika may be rough around the edges, but like a diamond in the rough, she's a really good kid who cares about her family and friends. It is that same care and goodness that will guide the other members of Abyssmare to blending into the friendly world of D4DJ.